welcome to Scrollin', episode 113. I'm Ket. Joining me, as always, Davius Starjumper. What's up, man?
Not much.
I had some energy behind the Davius Starjumper.
Davius Starjumper. You were jumping. I get it.
I was building you up there.
All right. It was a little pressure. I mean, I didn't know if I could live up to it. It was like, great things. I have to say, like, I'm wondering if it's just me or if, like, there's changes or you're sensitive to. I feel like we've been hitting these, like, PTSs quick, you know? It's like as soon as it's like, oh, hey, a new PTS is starting, and then we're already in PTS week 5. Like, this one's about to launch. I think it's going quick. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
No, it's basically a 6-week cycle. You know, it's like you get a patch, and then 6 weeks later you get PTS for the next patch, and then that lasts 6 weeks, and then the patch hits, and then 6 weeks later PTS, and then on and on until the fourth quarter. Like this next upcoming update that we're getting is always the long patch because that's at the end of the year,
Mm-hmm.
and the first one of the next year kind of comes around like early March, maybe something like that.
The slow season, as they say.
Yes, that's why we do the BG report and all that stuff to fill that up. Public test server week 5 was last week. That was the final week of the public test server of PTS. So this what do we even call this? I keep trying to call it a DLC, but it's not like it's for sale. This update is happening.
It's an ESO speed bump. You know, putting a new speed bump in the parking lot.
So the update is happening this coming Monday on PC, and then 2 weeks later on consoles. As far as the stuff that's happened on PTS in the final week, unusually some stuff did happen. So that Basalt Blooded Warrior Dragon Knight set, we mentioned last week that they were planning to fix that like bar swapping thing. They did that. So now it doesn't matter how you have it equipped. If it's double bar, back bar, front bar, it doesn't matter. When the set activates, the stance will change when you bar swap. So party's over on that one. Gardener of Seasons, the Warden set, they changed this one, so it now gives you the Herald of Spring buff automatically when you equip the set. You don't have to do anything to get that. That just happens right away. And then you get the Harbinger of Fall buff, the oh crap mode buff. Now the way you do that is by holding the block button and casting any healing ability. And then that puts you into the Harbinger of Fall mode. They reduced the duration of that to 6 seconds instead of 10 seconds. They say they want it to be easier to bounce back and forth between those two modes is why. And Harbinger of Fall now applies major cowardice rather than major maim to enemies. Still gives the minor vitality to your allies.
I mean, I just think that across the board is like, I would say all good changes. It seems a lot easier to use and
Much
control
easier
now. And I like the major cowardice over the maim. I even like that change.
Cowardice is a very potent debuff.
Yeah.
Because it's it reduces their weapon and spell damage, and it's I think it's like 400 something, and it's
430, right?
That sounds right. But it's a pre-buffed amount. So that 430, you know, plus their medium armor and their major savagery or brutality, I mean. And, you know, that gets amplified by so much, like you're taking all that away from them.
It's like taking a 5-piece set off of a character.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, the devs say they wanted to simplify it and make it more intuitive to use. And that makes sense. Like when you're wanting that Harbinger of Fall, you know, if you're holding block and casting a heal, that's probably a situation where you're going to need that, you know, so it just kind of happens automatically. That makes sense. I like that. And then the Templar set, Wrath Sun, they reduced the maximum stat count of Sunlight to 40 instead of 50. They also fixed an issue where Sunlight could continuously refresh while at maximum stacks in some cases. I think I saw some YouTube videos kind of showing how to exploit that, but don't get too excited about that one. Still seems not great.
Yeah, I was going to ask, have you heard any feedback on the changes from the 40 stacks to 50, like how big a difference that made?
I haven't seen a mention of this anywhere at all. I checked the forums pretty much daily, and no one's talking about this set, either good or bad. I think people are just kind of not even thinking about it.
I feel like that this one, I don't know. I just get the feeling this one's not done being changed. Like, if there's going to be
Yeah,
some after patch launch changes, I feel like this is a good chance to where that's going to be.
I have a hard time with that one, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe I haven't. I tested out the original iteration of this, but I haven't tested it out with the 40 stacks. That might be significant, but kind of what we were saying before, the fact that it's hard to control when it procs, where it procs. It's so stationary when it does proc that, as soon as the boss moves or your enemy moves, it's just wasted. It's gone. Just the idea, just the base idea seems not great to me.
Yeah.
The dev comment is pretty funny to me. They say, we're cautiously decreasing the maximum stat count of this set to help better facilitate reaching the reward mechanism, while also tuning down some of the passive recovery. The fact that they use the word cautiously, we're cautiously decreasing the maximum stat count. Like, careful, guys.
Yay, everybody be careful.
You don't want the set to not suck.
Don't make it usable now. Be careful.
Backing up to the Warden set, Grizzly put in the chat. Was that Grizzly that did that? Yeah, Grizzly. Yeah, he's the only person in chat. The Wardens have that corrupting pollen ability that also applies minor cowardice as well as major defile. So you could pair that with that set and have a lot of good stuff happening there.
Oh man, yeah. Goodness gracious, that'd be a lot.
Okay, I think that's pretty much the PTS. Typical, really not a typical week 5. That's actually pretty exciting for a week 5.
There's
really.
a lot of details happening there. A lot of changes.
You usually get nothing at all, and then this week right now, I guess it would be a 6th week of PTS, but it's really just a dead week, nothing at all. And we'll get the update this coming Monday on PC. So, feeling a little low because Deathmatch weekend is over. It's almost like a bad thing, because it's like it's so great. Deathmatch is you can play all the deathmatch you want, like the old days, and it was so much fun. I mean, don't get me wrong, a blast. I had a blast the last, I don't know what, 4 or 5 days. But now that it's over, it's just like, oh, such a bummer to go back to not deathmatch.
Yeah. See, that the one thing I'll say, so I was gone on vacation, so I didn't get to take advantage of deathmatch weekend at all.
Dang.
But the one thing that's kind of a bonus to it is that I got matches last night, so it was like that first, it was that first day of deathmatch, so you're still surprised by it. Like, you just keep seeing deathmatch, you're like, this is crazy. And then now that it's over, it's like I almost didn't experience enough of it to have the like hangover.
You did get spoiled too.
Yeah, like the depression state of now that it's gone, going back to the original ones. I am sad I missed it. It was a huge bummer to miss it, but yeah,
it's almost a blessing in a way.
It's like I don't have to feel the sadness of now that it's gone, experiencing it, caring about the scoreboard again. I mean,
it's so cool to care about the score. I'm like, oh, we're about to win. Like, there's those moments where like you're in second place and you take the lead and you win at the last second, and it's freaking awesome.
I would even say that, and it makes sense because it's deathmatch, but even in the one day that I experienced the deathmatch weekend, it's such a different level of playing. Like, and you're right, like even that was a flashback of, movement, like positioning, you're strategizing, like there's just so much more that almost all of that is just, it's so rare now to even have that. And even when you do kind of have a random deathmatch, it's like, it's almost kind of like it's rusty. Those skills are rusty, the communication or the positioning. And so even on just doing the one day, it was just so much fun to play matches again where it's like, hold on, we need to pull out of this. You're talking about positioning, you're working as a group, you're strategizing.
Yeah, and just the fact that that it is deathmatch weekend, therefore the people who are queuing up know that they're getting deathmatch. Mm-hmm. They are there to fight, So, like, man, a problem in Battlegrounds for the last several months has been when you do get a death match, it's actually really difficult to enjoy it, at least in the
Yeah.
in the solo and group queue, because we've been in this random queue situation for so long now that now the majority of the players queuing up are not like PvP, like players who like to fight other players. You know,
Yeah.
they like to stand on flags and capture the relic and do that kind of thing. And so under normal circumstances, when it's just a random queue situation and you do get a death match and these players, the objective is to kill other players and to not die, they don't know what to do with themselves. And almost every time, halfway through the match, half the players have left because they're not having fun, because they're getting dunked on, because they're not
Yeah.
PvPers, really.
Yeah, that's 100% truth.
And they're just now being forced to learn that because, 1 out of 10 queues or whatever is deathmatch.
Most of the time we get a deathmatch, not this weekend, but most of the time we get a deathmatch now, it's usually just like one entire team will end up leaving.
Yeah.
And it's usually just 2 teams going at it.
But this weekend, yeah, it's not like that. Everybody knows what they're getting. It's the people who want deathmatch are the ones queuing up. And so it's like, we make our builds. This is what we make them for, right? This is like in our minds when I'm making old Betsy and making build decisions and doing different things, I'm thinking of a deathmatch situation is what this build is for. But it's actually so rare that I'm in that situation and able to put my build to what it was made to do. So it's been so nice these last few days to just and I've been playing with Betsy a ton and just saying yeah, this is what we were made to do. And we're just in that zone and we get to be in that zone as much as we want, match after match after match. And it really does bring back that old feeling. Like me and multiple other players were whispering each other, man, doesn't this feel like the good old days? It feels like the old Adastra days and all that. It really did bring that back.
Hey,
this is just what the game was.
Don't spread your deathmatch depression on me, all right? I just said I didn't have it. You're making me have it.
Really did take me back. It's Grizzly said in the Discord chat earlier today something like they paved over paradise. They took our deathmatch queue away.
Yeah.
It's such a good thing going. Multiple guilds surrounded around this thing, and it's it is. It's a depressing thing. It's as much fun as deathmatch weekend is. It's I fall that much lower when it's over.
Yeah, you miss it. We miss playing like that. I mean, I hadn't really even thought about that, but that's such a true statement. Is all of this theory crafting and building these characters and builds that we put together and test out, they're made for that mode. This is when we get to see them shine the most and see how well they work. And realistically, when we play these other BGs and it's a flag game or a relic match, it's very rarely do you actually get to see a fully PvP build work, because you're usually sprinting, you're chasing people around to get to a fight, or it's just such a different style.
Your teammates are not really playing in a way to take advantage of your build and what you have to offer and that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We did some ultra mega sweaty pre-mades last night. That was fun, I guess.
Fun question.
But I mean, we had to. It was the last night of deathmatch weekend, so we had to get some pre-mades going and just get sweaty, and that's what we did. That's exactly what we did. Went up against some extremely good teams. We hung in there.
Yeah.
I'll say that much. We hung in there.
We actually, probably my favorite part of the night is we had a group and it was a super sweaty match, super close, and we actually ended up winning it, did really well. And then we're like, all right, now we're going to change everybody up, because that, it's that didn't feel like we win. And then when we changed everybody up, it was definitely much worse results. We should have just stuck with the original team.
That's what's funny too, is we had several matches and each one, a few of them we won, but none of them felt like we won. Right? They all felt like this is brutal. We felt like we were struggling the entire time. But you look at the scores at the end and we won.
There was. It was wait.
It did not feel like it.
Wait, what?
There was one match that we won, but one of the teams, none of them died.
Yeah.
Remember that? We died a bunch of times, but we had more kills than their team, so we still won.
That's true.
That was kind of funny.
There's a joke in there, right? That's why it's called death match, not live match.
Yeah, not stay alive match.
edit that joke and make it funny when we go live.
I do think deaths should be subtracted from your score.
Oh yeah.
So deathmatch weekend, another 6 months or so, we'll get another one, and we'll have this exact same conversation again. I'm sure
we'll have recovered by then. We'll be fully happy in BGs. This will happen, and it'll be just we'll be ecstatic, and then we'll go into the depression.
And the last time that we would have had deathmatch weekend, they skipped it because it was during I think it was during Mid-Year Mayhem or something like that. We actually didn't get it the last time that it was kind of coming. It was its turn or whatever.
That's tough to hear.
I want a quick pro tip. So new subject. Moving on. Shout out to Garion. He pointed this out to me, and I just wanted to pass this along. You can keybind the individual target marker icons, to any key you want. So, you what is it, tab, or is it the tab key on PC that you hold it down and it brings up that wheel and you choose whichever icon you want. And for me, when I'm in the action in the middle of everything, I can never use that.
Yeah.
But you can go into your settings and just pick a single icon and bind it to your number 6 key or whatever. And then you just push that, and instantly a skull appears over that person's head, or whatever icon you picked. Garion recommended, and I've been doing it, and it's working well for me. Scrolling forward on your mouse wheel, just make that be a binding for like a commonly used marker. Like I've been using the skull to mark people that I want my team to focus and kill, and it works perfectly. I'm looking right at them. I just kind of flick my mouse wheel kind of forward at them. It puts that icon right on them. Even on random groups, like if I'm in the solo queue, oftentimes people just kind of figure out like, oh, skull means bad. Attack the skull,
Yeah.
So it's just I'm actually able to utilize that feature, because I really like the idea of this feature, but in practice, I've had a hard time actually using it with that wheel and stuff. But I didn't even realize that I could do that. That really opens it up. Davius, I haven't heard from Lord of Nords in a while. You want to update us on what's going on with Lord of Nords?
Oh, Lord of Nords, my Stam DK. Yeah. So just kind of a reminder of what the build's been the same for a long time. It's 5-piece core Riptide, 2-piece Bloodspawn, Black Rose Prison, dual wield with 2 maces, and then I do 1-piece Druid and then 1-piece Trainee, both just max health. And then Oakensoul. It's an Oakensoul build. And then the bar setup is I do Noxious Breath as my spammable, and then I do Molten Whip and Deep Breath. That's kind of my damage abilities. I do Quick Cloak. It's kind of my defensive ability, but also get my speed. And then I do Coagulating Blood for the heal, and then the ult Leap. Only Leap.
Of course.
And so this build has been this way forever, and I feel like most people are this way, but we talk about it all the time on, we have a build and then we lock it in and we feel really good about it. And then we kind of hit these, I don't know what you would say, but we kind of have these moments where like, all right, it's time for this build to like level up, move up a notch.
You plateau.
Right.
Is that the word you're looking for?
There you go. That's perfect. And so that's kind of where I was at in this build, is that it worked really well. Still, did everything I wanted to, but I kind of started realizing that I was having this struggling point with Noxious Breath as the spammable. That builds up the stacks for the Molten Whip. I would usually, throw the breath, get my whip stacks up for that extra weapon and spell damage, leap in, deep breath, and then hit him with a charged whip with 3 stacks. And I kept finding myself in this situation that Molten Whip, with it costing Magicka and Stamina, it's a very low cost ability, especially on a kind of a hybrid type build like this. And so when they didn't get finished, that whip was kind of the ability that I had that was a good burst damage on a single target. Like I wasn't going to throw breath out there because it wouldn't be enough damage to finish them off. And so I just start spamming the whip on them. But it almost felt like counterintuitive because technically I needed to throw the breath back out there to get my whip stacks back up so that I could hit them with a harder whip and then get my weapon and spell damage up. And so I always kind of struggled with that piece of the build that it was like, I'd go through the combo, and then if I got somebody really low, I would just start spamming the whip. And it's like, as I was spamming the whip, it was like, okay, this is the quickest way to do quick damage to them, but like I know it's not starting my combo back up again. And so it always kind of bugged me, and I just always kind of played through it and found different ways to do it. And so finally I got to the point where I was like, all right, I've got to change this. I got to tinker with the build. And boy, did I tinker. I went full tinkering mode in the last 2 weeks with Lord of Nords. He was a mag DK for a little bit, tried out all these different abilities, didn't change the sets at all, just mainly just changed the whole bar up, moved abilities around, tried, fossilize, talons, all these different things. And not necessarily that they wouldn't work, but it just didn't play right. Like I really like the way he plays, and he wasn't playing the way that he usually does, and so I didn't like it, and so I actually ended up making very, very minor adjustments. But I love the adjustments because I no longer have that problem of like the counterintuitiveness happening. And really, the only change that ended up happening is I dropped Molten Whip for Spin to Win. I still use Noxious Breaths as the spammable, still have Quick Cloak, still do the Deep Breath, still have Coag as the heal, still leaping. And so through all these changes and changing the entire bar up, I just kind of came upon the realization that I was already using that whip as an execute, but I was having to kind of charge it up to get more damage, and it's still not, it's a high hitting damage ability, but it's not an execute. And so I just swapped it out for Spin to Win, which is an AoE execute. It's an unbelievable ability. And it's been fantastic. It's been an unbelievable change to the build. It works a lot better now. I don't feel so pressured to constantly, Noxious Breath is still the spammable, but I don't always kind of even have in the back of my mind of like throw out extra ones that I don't really need to. I can kind of just use it as a no pressure spammable now. A lot better timed with the deep breaths, and then now I can kind of leap in and just start spinning, and it's just pulling a lot more kills with this setup. Been working great, really love it. Still plays the same way, just plays better. Really the biggest change is that where I was trying to use whip as an execute, now I actually have a real execute, and it's an AoE one. So it's just a lot more kills, and it's a lot better about finishing players off.
I've always had that problem with Molten Whip too, though. Like, yeah, it's like you charge it up and you get that one big hit, and then I almost don't want to use it again at all until I get those stacks again.
And that's really what
I it's supposed to be my spammable.
That's really what I was running into. Is it's like you look at Molten Whip, and it's such an unbelievably good ability, and there's good passes, and you build those stacks to get extra weapon and spell damage. But it's like it's such a good ability that I was changing the way I play just to try to make that ability work. And then when I wasn't doing that, it felt like I was doing something wrong. And so just dropping it completely, like, I don't have the weapon damage stacks anymore. That's okay. Like I still have plenty of damage on the build, and it's just worked out better. Obviously Spin to Win is a lot more higher cost ability. It's full stamina, but that's okay. Like, all my damage abilities on here are stamina. And so it kind of saves, more.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Coral Riptide.
Well, that's true. Now, funny you said that, is that now that I have switched to this setup, though, here's the crazy part. I'm actually most likely going to swap out Coral Riptide. I'm actually probably going to take it off the build.
You get that new DK set.
Well, that will probably happen. But what I'm actually going to swap out Coral Riptide for is Dagon's Dominion.
Oh, okay.
And here's the reason on this. So
yeah, you got all AoE damage.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is the new bar now Noxious Breath, even Quick Cloak, Noxious Breath, Quick Cloak, Spin to Win, Deep Breath, Leap, all AoE damage. So Dagon's Dominion is given a benefit to all of those. And the best case scenario for Coral Riptide, like if you're at 30% stamina, you have 740 weapon and spell damage, which is a lot. That's fantastic. And that's what I love about the set. But it is a trial set. So the 3-piece to the trial set is the minor, what is it called? Slayer, I think.
Oh yeah, so it's just dead in PvP.
It's just the dead 3-pieced part of the set. And so Dagon's Dominion actually has an extra line of weapon and spell damage. And then the 5-piece gives you 492 to all of your AoE damage. So you add in 492 plus the extra 129 weapon and spell damage. I'm trading a top end, perfect scenario, 740 weapon and spell damage for a consistent 721, trading 20 spell damage. And so, and the other,
as far as like for your abilities, like
For
because
my
one's
abilities.
straight to your stat
That's
sheet,
right.
so you're actually heals are benefiting from that, but still
that's
damage
100%
wise,
right. Yes, 100% right. My heal will be less, but Coag is such a ridiculous heal that like,
yeah, it'd be fine.
it should be fine. But that's the biggest thing is that, so the benefit is that it is going to be more consistent at higher damage. So it should be a higher consistency with the damage. And probably my most favorite part about this is more effective leaps, because that's the one thing that has been kind of a bummer about Coral Riptide is that every time I use the ult ability, my stamina bar jumps up a whole bunch.
That's right.
And so the leap always hits less. It doesn't really ever get the full Coral Riptide effect because I'm getting so much sustain. And so now I don't have to worry about that. Like my leaps are going to be, top end damage every time I use them. So,
that's a really good case against that set on a DK, actually.
Yep, absolutely. And I mean, Leap's my favorite ability on the build, so I'm pretty excited about it. I've already got a full set of Dagon's Dominion. I'm kind of tinkering around with it to make it the right traits and stuff. But I'm gonna go ahead and make this change. And I've plugged it into the build editor. It looks better, and I just think it's going to be a full just kind of level up across the build. And it's just going to make that new spin to win execute, it's just going to make that ability hit harder. And so I just think it's going to be a good thing across the board. I think it's really going to help out the build, and it'll still play tanky, as long as it has Coag and a lot of health and leap, and it leaps as much as it does. Like it's in Quick Cloak. Like it's a pretty
well fitted.
Yeah, it's well fitted. So it already plays pretty tanky. And so I think I think it's going to continue to play that way, but just hit a little bit harder.
Nice. I've kind of been doing the same thing of just kind of spending a lot of time with the main and just sort of making some refinements and stuff like that. And it's such a good feeling when you're like just vibing with your main. You know what I mean? You ever have those moments when you're just like, man, I have the best main of anybody,
Well, I've no. Hey, wait a minute.
Well, no, I'm not saying as in like I can beat anybody. That's not true. But I'm just like, no one's main is cooler than old Betsy. Get real. Like, come on.
I can 100% relate to that. I've had moments where I'm like, just Lord of Nords he's feeling good, feeling perfect. And it is a great feeling when that's like, it's your favorite character, it's your main, it's the one you're most comfortable with. And it's just in a rhythm where it's just playing exactly how you want it to. It's a nice spot to be in for sure.
Yeah. I feel like I've had multiple renaissances with Betsy, and this just kind of feels like one of them. So Betsy, she's my Stamina Templar, my main character, and I've kind of ended up in a situation where I have two versions of her build that are both kind of locked in. Like I'm not going to make myself decide between the two. I have both at the ready at all times, depending on what I'm doing. So I have Betsy A and I have Betsy B. Betsy A is basically just the same old Betsy that I've been talking about for ages. It's Deadly Strikes on the as a double bar set, Wretched Vitality back bar with a bow, Black Rose dual wield on the front bar, Gaze of Sithis Mythic Helm, and One Piece Magma. I mentioned in the last episode she's no longer a vampire, so she has amazing sustain. Also, Mist Form's no longer on the bar, so I put Radiant Aura in its place. Gives me all 3 minor recovery buffs. So my sustain is extra good, right? Since I'm not a vampire, plus I have the minor recoveries that I didn't have before. But otherwise, besides those changes there, it's the same build that it's been for the past, I don't know, almost a year at this point. awesome build, but just the fact that the sustain is so much better now. I'm a more effective healer. I'm even a more effective damage dealer a lot of the time because I can just kind of push harder and harder and harder for longer periods of time without getting drained out of resources and stuff. I'm not finding that I'm dying any more often than usual.
Betsy never dies. It's just not in her toolkit to die. It's just not one of her things.
Yeah.
not a hobby of hers.
It's not something she likes to do. But I'm having a lot more fun on the build just because I can kind of keep my foot on the gas pedal and just go and go and go. Whereas before, as a vampire, I was really kind of having to stop, make sure I'm not overdoing it and that sort of stuff. So that's been good. It's been great. Betsy B. So basically, I just replaced Deadly Strikes with the Phoenix Moth Thayer's set. Talked about that a couple of episodes ago. That's the medium armor set that when you heal people, you give them minor courage and minor force. Really great set. And to me, the cherry on top of this set is that it gives you 2 lines of stamina recovery. And my recovery is already feeling so good that that's actually overkill on stamina recovery. It's like too much. So that gives me the option to switch my Mundus Stone. I switch it to the Atronach Mundus for Magicka recovery. So that puts my Magicka recovery up to over 2,300.
Holy cow.
For a Stamina Templar. So I can kind of spam heals like a Magplar now, basically, with this setup. And the whole idea, basically, is when I'm in this Betsy B Phoenix Moth setup, that I'm trying to be more supportive in general. So I can spam heals a lot more with that Magicka recovery. I'm giving my teammates extra weapon damage and crit damage with that Phoenix Moth set. Plus, in both setups, I have that Radiant Aura, so I'm giving everyone all 3 minor recoveries. So the Phoenix Moth setup, this is just kind of the setup that I like if I'm grouping up with people for pre-mades, like what we did last night. This is something that I feel like I can bring and offer more to the team other than just what I myself am capable of. And it's not like I'm giving up a ton of personal damage. Like, it is less personal damage, but it's still very good. Like 6,100 spell damage, 30% crit, 80% crit damage. Have the Bloodthirsty Jewelry. Even like in a 1v1 situation, still formidable. Not quite, on the level of the Deadly Strikes setup, but still, people are going to think twice before 1v1ing Betsy even in this setup. It's been perfect for the deathmatch weekend, even in the solo queue, since, people are queuing up to fight and they're throwing down and your team is most likely going to be right there with you. It's really, I feel like, it's hard to really quantify really, but I feel like it's a better setup to use because I am kind of lifting my teammates up and then they're sort of lifting me up in return. It's all sort of reciprocating. I'm making them stronger, they're making me stronger. Whereas if I was in the Deadly Strikes setup, I'd be doing some more damage, but I don't know if I would necessarily be more successful because I'm not empowering my team as much, so they're not able to support me in return as much,
Well, and I would even say, seeing some screenshots of the Betsy B setup, like old Betsy's heal numbers were fantastic. Like really good damage numbers, but like really, really good healing numbers along with it.
Yeah, and she uses a lot of light armor pieces, and I actually did test it out one time while I was in combat. I can spam Honor the Dead 15 times.
Holy cow.
Before I'm drained of Magicka. And that's just I just hit a target dummy to put myself in combat. That's all that test was. That's not even counting like, Honor the Dead refunds Magicka when you heal low health targets and stuff like that. But so I've really enjoyed both setups. I can't pick one or the other. I mean, the Deadly Strike setup, that's classic Betsy, and that's if I really want to bring the damage and show people what for, that's the setup I want. But this support setup is really fun. It's still, I still feel like I'm a threat to people, but I'm also making everyone around me so much stronger as well. Anyway, I guess that's all I have to say about Betsy. We have we're going to do kind of a special thing here. We have a featured build we're going to talk about. So what this is a 1-bar version of the Meta Warden PvP healer build. So this kind of came together in our Discord in the Theory Crafting channel a few days ago. Shout out to Shoddy Magician, friend of ours. Possibly literally the best healer in the game, right? I mean,
Yeah,
maybe
It's a safe bet for sure.
at the very least among the top, 3 or so. And some people would say literally the best healer in the game for PvP. And his build is basically, as far as anyone can tell, basically the meta healer build, which is it's a Warden and it's Wretched Vitality back bar, Rallying Cry front bar, Death Dealer's Fet Mythic, and a 2-piece Ozazan monster set. And he freely shares that build with anyone who asks. So it's no secret that basically is the meta healer build for BGs these days. Until somebody comes out with something better. Shout out to Grizzly Khan. He was asking in the he's in the chat right now. He was asking in the Discord what a 1-bar version of this build might look like. And at first, Shoddy was like, "You don't do that." Shoddy's he's not into the 1-bar builds.
Not a 1-bar, yeah.
But after a little bit of prying, he kind of came around, and Grizzly and Shoddy, and shout out to Garion. He was helping kind of theory craft this thing, and I was in there kind of, I don't know if I helped or not, but I was in there.
You were there.
But we were all just kind of talking this thing out, like, okay, if we were going to condense Shoddy's meta healer build into a 1-bar version, what would that be like? And here's what we come up with, and it seems pretty good. Grizzly has tested this thing thoroughly over Deathmatch Weekend. It seems extremely awesome from the screenshots I've seen. I think we got a legit build here. So it is 5 pieces Wretched Vitality, 5 pieces Rallying Cry, the Oakensoul Ring, and 1-piece Trainee. 5 heavy, 1 medium, 1 light. It's a mix of reinforced and well-fitted traits on the armor. The jewelry is all healthy with Magicka recovery glyphs. The Ritual Mundus Stone for extra healing. The food is Orzorga's Red Frothgar, gives you a bunch of extra max health and Magicka recovery. Tri-stat potions. The ideal race is a Breton. You can do any race, but Breton would be the best. And the bar is Polar Wind, Budding Seeds, Leeching Vines, Echoing Vigor, Deceptive Predator, the flappy wings, and the Resto ult. Not the trees, not the Warden trees ult. Shoddy was adamant on this when we were talking in Discord. The Resto Staff ultimate is the superior ultimate. When your team's getting heavy pressured and they're about to go down, the trees is not going to bail them out the way the Resto ult will. That's the one you want to use. So that's that. I mean, I think this is something that a lot of people might be interested in if you're just wanting an easy 1-bar, very, very effective healer build that you could take into the sweatiest of the sweaties and perform well. That should do it. Some alternative sets if someone in your group already has Rallying Cry, Spell Power Cure, Classic has never not been, a great set to use. Gossamer, really good set, gives everyone major evasion. An easy shout out again to Grizzly Khan. He suggested a really easy crafted set that you could just pick up right away. Heartland Conqueror. If you use the powered trait on your staff, that's 18% extra healing power. That's not bad either.
No, that's not bad at all.
So there you go. Anything to add to that, Davius? Or
no, I think that's probably a fun build.
Yeah,
and I've seen Grizzly. Shout out Grizzly Khan. I've seen his screenshots. They've been very, very, very fantastic.
He's tested this thing thoroughly. It is a very well tested build, and I think we can safely vouch for it. If you're looking for just like a solid 1-bar healer build, this might literally be the best one possible. Maybe. Okay, we have some emails to read. scrollandpodcast@gmail.com. That's our email address. If you'd like to send us an email, you can do that. We encourage it. What kind of emails can they send us, Davius?
Any emails. Any
emails, as long as they're friendly.
Emails at all. Well, that's true. Please make them friendly.
You can ask us a question. You can make a suggestion for the show. Tell us a joke. Say hello. Shout out to a friend. Anything you like. scrollandpodcast@gmail.com. Every episode, Davius is going to pick out his favorite email of the bunch, and I'm going to give him some gold. This week it's going to be 120K. The amount changes. Quick shout out to Yin and Yangin. He won the last episode's prize. It was 500K. I gave it to him in game, and about 5 minutes later, he whispered me and said, "And it's gone."
To good use. All right, there we go.
It didn't
Put it
last
to
long.
good use.
I mean, you buy a stack of Tri-Stat potions,
Oh.
that's half of it, you know?
Gosh, that's the truth. That is the truth.
I just thought that was funny.
That is hilarious.
First email is from Gummy Bear. Shout out to Gummy Bear. Podcast question from the G Bear. What if there was an item that allowed you to use ults from different classes? What ults would you use on some of your builds and why? Also, should this be a 5-piece set, a monster set, or a mythic item? That is my question.
That it is. That's the question.
Davies, you go first. You got any ideas?
You know, I'll be honest. I'll throw myself under a bus a little bit. It didn't immediately come to me. I was playing around, toying around with some different ideas.
I kind of struggled too.
Well,
it's a tough one.
So I thought like Templar. Leap is my favorite ability in the game. So it's like Templar with Leap would be fun. Like a
That's
Necro.
what Grizzly says in the chat.
Yep, Grizzly says it as well. A Necro with a bear. If it could be like an undead bear, I thought that would be cool.
Okay.
And then it hit me. The most beautiful possible. I'm embarrassed it didn't immediately come to me.
Okay.
But I need, specifically, I'm just 100% selfish on this one. But my point blank snipe Stamden build with Leap, it would be magic. It would be poetry in motion to have the point blank snipe build leap into the fray and then just start sniping right at point blank range after a leap. So that is what I settled on. If I could get Leap on the point blank snipe build, it would just be poetry.
My ideas are okay. I think the conclusion that I drew is I would not want to do this. I thought about it a whole bunch.
You're just against it.
Every class's ultimate is so tied to that class. I don't think I would actually want to do it. But some funny ideas. I thought of what if you had a Nightblade with corrosive armor? Do you imagine that?
Oh my gosh.
Just freaking getting ganked in corrosive.
Good Lord.
Gummy Bear's just in time to see his question. What's up?
Another one that I thought of was can you imagine with the Sork with the Nightblade ult?
With Incap?
With Incap, like a Sork streaking and then Incapping you. There's just something terrifying thinking about that. I will say that if to answer the other part of this question, the 5-piece monster, it would have to be a mythic. Something of this kind of wackiness and power. To me, it could only be a mythic. This is a mythic level item, I think.
I had one more idea. Not quite as funny, but like a Dragon Knight with a cheap ultimate like Incap or Crescent Sweep. Something they can use a lot to really juice up that Battle Roar passive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think it should be a consumable. I think you should have to buy something in the Crown store and you consume it, you use it one time, and if you want to do it again, you have to buy it again. That's what I think. Something crazy like that.
I almost want it to happen just to see if anybody would take me up on the Necro Bear. Just an undead bear running around with a Necro. So you'd have a Mender, you'd have the Archer or the Mage, and then a Necro Bear. Come on. It's a perfect setup right there.
Thanks for writing, Gummy Bear, and thanks for joining us in the chat. Next email comes from Yin and Yangin. He says, what's your favorite controversial food? For example, pineapple on pizza, sardines, lengua. I don't know what that is.
Lengua.
Maybe he meant to say lasagna, but that's not controversial, is it? I don't know.
Lasagna's delicious. Nothing controversial about that.
Yeah, for real. He says, mine is I put Italian dressing on white rice.
Oh, yeah. I'd put that one in as controversial. That one's...
Grizzly says lengua is cow tongue. I see.
Okay, well then, yeah, lengua then is... Yeah, that's controversial. I don't think I want tongue. I don't...
Okay, is Italian dressing on white rice controversial, though? Because I feel like for there to be a controversy, there needs to be two sides of it. And I think there's yin and yang on one side and there's the rest of society
rest of
on the other
Then,
side.
yeah, I think that's 100% the controversy there. Like,
That's the
I think that's what it
controversy.
is. There it is. You just spoke
Okay.
it out loud.
All right.
Italian dress. I can't even imagine what that tastes like. You know, usually you can
You
try
just
to
put it in a
imagine.
plastic bowl with a spoon and just like watch cartoons while you eat it. I mean, how does that work?
I can't imagine what it's. Yeah, I can't imagine that. That one's pretty good. I'm curious of what your controversial food is on this.
I had a hard time with this one because I'm a very boring food person.
That's the way I am.
I have very straightforward tastes. I really don't like very much weird stuff at all. But I do have one food crime. I did think of something.
Okay, good.
I do not. I like my food to be cooked. Okay, so bloody
Always
steak.
good.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Take this bloody steak back to the kitchen and cook it, please. Is what I will say. And
Okay. So how
I know
cooked
what-
though? Like, is this?
I order medium well. That's how I order my steak.
Okay.
And I'm not too good for some A1 steak sauce now and then either. So, there you go.
There's torches. People are lighting the torches.
I
for
know.
you
That's
right
my
now.
food crime.
That's a pretty good.
I don't want blood. I don't want blood coming out of my food. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't. That's not appetizing. I'm not hungry anymore. If there's blood on my plate.
You're not a big vampire. Got it.
Yeah.
I went to my wife as a lifeline for this one, and she really wasn't very helpful at all because she said really my controversy is all the stuff that I actually don't like. There's the controversy there. I could go into that for a while. One of the things she gives me a really hard time about is that I stand by this. I think bell peppers as a vegetable overrated. One of the most overrated vegetables in existence.
Now, do you direct that at a certain color of bell pepper because the different
All
colors
colors.
are different? Dude.
I think all colors. I don't think there's that much flavor to them. I don't think people use them for
the green.
dips
You
or-
gotta get the green ones, dude.
I don't think I think they're overhyped. But I had to think of like an actual controversial few. I can't think of the things, that's like on the other side of this argument. And I did
Yeah.
come up with one. I haven't eaten this in probably 20 years because I can't anymore. I think if I ate this now, it would instantly kill me. But back when I was a younger man, working my construction days, and you just didn't care at all, no, not a care in the world. I used to, this is bad. It's so bad to think of now. But you take a glazed donut, a solid, good, delicious glazed donut, and then you put butter on top of it. And then you put that in the microwave for about 15 seconds, let the butter melt into the glazed donut.
Oh yeah.
Delicious.
Oh yeah. I did that with cinnamon rolls. I would get like a big cinnamon roll from the donut shop
Delicious.
and melt a pat of butter on top.
Also delicious on only, and I'll argue about that one, only the cinnamon Pop-Tart. That's the only flavor you can put butter on and put it in the toaster. When you take it out, put some butter on it.
Grizzly says, Davius, my brother in Christ, what the f-?
He is horrified. But I'm telling you, I can't, like I
cinnamon
said,
Pop-Tarts with butter, okay?
the glazed donut with butter, heated up in the microwave, like it would kill me now. Like it's a young man's game. It's a young man's snack, but it's so
that doesn't sound
good.
crazy to me.
It's
to me,
so
that doesn't
good.
sound crazy. That's maybe a little bit overly decadent, but
Yes.
it's not like, I don't know if there's a controversy. Is there?
I don't
Maybe
know.
the controversy
Everybody,
is that's extremely unhealthy.
yes, everybody I've told about, or all the people that I know that I used to eat that just stare at me, or similar reactions to Grizzly Con right now. They're just like, what? Like, how in the world? But it's delicious. I'm telling you, it was good. I can't, like I said,
Very southern.
it's been 20 years. Can't do it now. But
Yeah,
back
use
in
the
the
donuts as hamburger buns.
I don't.
That's what Gummy Bear says.
And with a picture, I don't think I would like that.
I don't think I would either.
I think my taste buds would be confused. Like, what are we doing here? But yeah. But maybe my bell pepper take's more controversial. I don't know. Bell pepper's overrated. Who needs them? That's
So,
what I
okay, if you're talking about anything other than green, I think I can agree with you. Like red bell pepper, very bland,
Yeah,
yellow,
there's
all
not
that.
a lot of flavor
The green has a very distinctive flavor, especially when paired with with a beef dish of some kind. It goes really nice.
Right. Like a stuffed bell pepper. I think it's overrated.
Thanks for writing in, yin and yang. And next email comes from Garion. Garion has a question. How do you set your digital location to Skyrim? You use NordVPN. Ba-dam-bam-ba-dam-bam. Okay, next email.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. I see. I feel like we have to explain. I just saw the this question, and so when I saw this email, I just saw it as, how do you set your digital location to Skyrim? I didn't even know that it was the start of a joke, and so
okay,
my answer was already there. Like, I started playing that Lone Star song in my head. If anybody knows that song, that I'm already there. Take a look around. That just immediately started playing in my head. Like, digital location to Skyrim. Like, I'm already there. I'm always there.
Of course, yeah. We know.
we
know you already.
We know.
Thanks for writing in, Gary. I think that might be the first, because, when I plug the emails, I always say, tell us a joke. That's always one of the things I put in there. I think Garion's the first person to actually tell a joke in the email.
That's true. That might be our first joke email.
I like getting jokes.
This is true.
Get those jokes.
This is true.
Last email comes from Part-Time Gandalf. He's from Xbox NA. He says, I'm a returning player and am super happy to have found your podcast. I listen when I'm working. It helps me catch up on what's latest for ESO. So no question. Thanks, Part-Time Gandalf.
Awesome.
Just writing to say how cool we are.
Writing to say kind
Always
words.
Appreciate it.
Always appreciate kind words.
So, all right, one of these people, Gummy Bear, Yin and Yangin, or Garion. Really, one of those three. Part-Time Gandalf can't get a prize because he's on Xbox. Sorry, we got to figure something out.
Yeah, we got to figure out an Xbox prize. Here's what happened. Here's what has to happen, Kat. You got to make an Xbox character. You got to bounce back and forth between the two. Get a lot of gold on that character. You don't have to be good or anything. Just accumulate a lot of gold just for the podcast prizes.
I tell you what, if you pick an Xbox person, we'll just give that amount of gold in US dollars to that person. Problem solved.
Problem solved. And 120,000, right, was our goal?
Yeah. Yep.
We changing lives today. We're going to have a lot of past winners want to have some sort of exchange rate.
Well, maybe we can figure something out that's like Discord related or something to offer non-PC people. I don't know. I have to think of something. Which one do you pick, Davius?
This is a close one. I've got two in my head right now. I'm gonna go with Garion. I like that he followed through with the joke. Like,
he told us a joke. I appreciate the joke. Thanks, Garion. All right, 120K coming your way, Garion. Next time I log in. Sorry, Gummy Bear. Yours was good.
Gummies, yours was very fantastic. Really liked the question. That was a fun question, and it made me think of the poetry in motion of a point-blank snipe build just leaping in.
I liked the food one. I always like the food emails, and I liked, I feel like I've really finally gotten something off my chest, about the steak thing,
Well, wait till this episode goes live before you start feeling.
Oh, I know. I've been berated before, but I think people are just trying to feel cool about their steak snobbery or whatever. You need to cook your food, people.
I'm a steak guy myself. I've gotten really into steak. I'd probably say in the last 5 years, grilling my own, going to restaurants. Gone to famous steakhouses in the last 5 years.
So you're judging trips.
Me. I am quietly judging you. Yes, I don't know how to say that, but there is a begrudging judging happening. I order mine I don't like just raw. I don't I order mine medium. I just go medium. It's a nice level where it's
medium's acceptable.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't do.
I could probably get through a medium if I had to, but I wanted a little more cooked than that.
Yeah,
a little pink, just a little pink. That's all. I don't want like a pool of blood on my plate.
I'm not a big pool of blood guy either. I don't mind if a little red leaks out a little bit. That won't bother me too much.
All right. All right, Garion, I'll send you 120k next time I log in, dude. We have a guild. The guild's name is Stoons Goons. It is literally the best PvP guild in the game. And it also just so happens to be the best named guild on the PCNA server. It's also the official guild of the Scrollin' Podcast. We are on PCNA and Xbox NA. So if you're in either one of those platforms, send us an email at scrollandpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll send you an invite. If your guild list is full, or if you're on a or if you're on a different platform, I'm so tired, dude. My brain talking functions barely work
shutting
right now.
down. Ket is we're watching and listening to him shutting down.
Seriously, work has been kicking my butt. If your guild list is full, or if you're on a different platform, then just come join the Discord. Everyone who's on the Discord is a fully fledged goon. Everyone is welcome. Scrollandpodcast@gmail.com. If you'd like to support the show, one easy thing you can do is go to the Apple Podcast app and give us a star rating and especially a written review. If you'd like to go a step further than that, you can go to patreon.com/scrollandpodcast and receive Stoons Boon for $3 a month. You get access to a handful of things, including the Booncast, which is a shorter solo podcast that I do on the off weeks. Another way you can support us, I just thought of this a couple of days ago. Can't believe I didn't think of this a long time ago, but on the PCNA server, we do have a guild bank. And you can put stuff in there if you want. If you're looking for ways to help out, hey, Tri-Stat potions, always need them.
We're always going through this.
Or, if you want to toss some gold in there, you want to toss some crafting mats, anything that you think might be helpful, go right ahead. Also, anything you see in there that you want to take out, take it. Anything in there's up for grabs, go for it. But I just thought that I'd throw that in there. Some people might be thinking they would like to help us out, but they don't necessarily have the money to do Patreon or whatever. That helps us out a ton because we do a lot of theory crafting. We do a lot of play testing. It takes a lot of gold to do that stuff. So that's an option. If you can't do any of that stuff, just join the Discord. That actually helps us out quite a bit. Just having conversations with people, that fuels the podcast quite a bit. Like that 1-bar meta healer build that we talked about. There's a whole segment on the show that was from the Discord, a conversation we had there. So just being our friend and hanging out with us helps us out quite a bit. Shout out to the chat, Gummy Bear and Grizzly Khan. Thank you guys for being here. What are you talking about in here, Gummy Bear? Steal someone's iPhone and review it there. Oh, okay. Gummy Bear stole his roommate's phone because Gummy Bear uses an Android. There's no Apple Podcasts on there. And that's really the only podcast platform where the reviews matter. So steal your roommate's iPhone so that you can write us a review, please. Thank you. Oh yeah. Shout out to Grizzly Khan and Gummy Bear in the chat. Thanks for being here tonight, guys. Shout out to Uncle Sam, Kingnar, Shrimpo, Nachu, Wanna Buy My Dog, Outcast, Luxai, some other people I'm sure I'm forgetting. We've all just been playing a lot. The Discord has been hopping. Another quick shout out to Wanna Buy My Dog. Really cool dude. One of my favorite people to play with. Super funny and amazing brawler blade. Great player. And he just started streaming recently on Twitch. And he's actually pretty good at it. At the very least, you're going to learn a thing or two just from watching this dude PvP. He's an absolute monster. He's actually hilarious and very entertaining as well. He has a cool group of friends that he hangs out with. I just thought I'd give him a plug really quick. Check out Wanna Buy My Dog, all one word, on Twitch. Really great streamer. Shout out to Grizzly Khan, of course. Gummy Bear says in the chat, why not? Let's just toss him another one.
Shout out Grizzly Khan. Yeah. Always throw Grizzly Khan some shout outs.
Shout out to the Elder Goons, which Gummy Bear and Grizzly both are. And there's a number of others. Guys who've just been friends with us for a long time. I really appreciate you all. And shout out to our Stoons Boon recipients: Pork Body, Toadster, Gummy Bear, Grizzly Khan, Thomas, Taggart, Mother of Dragons, Sudica, Jim, Maxwell, Derpin Stuff. Thank you all so very, very much. Davis, we have anything else?
I think that's everything.
Okay, thank you guys very much for listening. We'll see you next time.